Welcome to part 1 of our 3-part series, The Canadian Beef Farmer Who Turned His Cattle Ranch into an Animal Sanctuary. On today's program, we travel to Uxbridge, Ontario, Canada to visit Farmhouse Garden Animal Home, an animal sanctuary co-founded in 2016 by Michael Lanigan and Edith Barabash. For many years, Mr. Lanigan had been a full-time farmer, earning his income by growing organic vegetables and raising beef cattle for slaughter. Although he did not like having his animals butchered, he did not know what else he could do. However, two events made Mike deeply question the ethics of his livelihood and inspired him to create an animal sanctuary for his cows. The first event was the birth of a calf named Hope. Edith explains.
Mike was thinking about it for a while. It wasn't just a completely overnight decision, but the thing that really kind of pushed him over the edge was when one of our calves was born. Her name now is Hope, and she was born in the summer of 2016, very prematurely, and she was very weak, and Mike had to work with her day in and out to make sure that she just survives and she gets the mother's milk and everything. And as he was working with her, he was thinking about how hypocritical it is for him to give this calf so much love and so much care, and then in 2 years he would just have to send her to the butcher shop and slaughter her. And he thought that it was a really odd and hypocritical way to make a living for himself personally.
The second event that profoundly affected Mike was when his 4-year-old son, Nathan, decided to stop eating beef. Edith shares this story.
So his son Nathan is so compassionate and he's so sweet. From what I remember, his son just one day asked, where the beef comes from, and Mike and his wife told him, it's from the cows. And his son asked, is it from our cows, like the ones that we take care of? And Mike said, yeah. And then he refused to eat it after that. So I think children have such an innate connection with animals. And it's hard for them to eat animals once they put a face to it. I think with everybody, really, once they put a face to the animals that they eat, it changes things a lot. I think it made the whole family really step back and think about it. And of course, Mike eventually realized that himself too.
These two events, the birth of Hope and Nathan's refusal to eat beef, caused Mike to have serious doubts. Why was he killing the cows that he loved? Was there something else he could do? He shared his concerns with Edith.
And that's when he started having these doubts, and he came to talk to me about it. I had already been vegan and been engaged in animal rights for a few years before this happened. And when Mike was telling me that he was having these second thoughts about slaughtering the animals, I thought it would be such a great opportunity to make this about something bigger than just us, to create something that's educational and that would inspire people. We have the land, the animals are here, we're able to rescue them, and we thought it would just be such a great opportunity to do something.
After much discussion, Mike and Edith decided to found an animal sanctuary where the cows could live out the remainder of their lives in peace. But how would they manage financially? Not only would Mike lose the income from selling the cows, but it would be expensive to continuously feed and care for them. How could they survive?
It's very difficult because the animals eat between 1 to 2 big hay bales a day. It costs us well over $100 a day to feed them, and that's not including, maintaining our infrastructure and veterinary costs and all of the other things associated with running a sanctuary. I didn't really know what I was getting into at the beginning. It was really all such a learning experience for me. But it was really daunting to think, we're obviously not profiting off of the animals. So Mike still runs his his vegetable garden, and that's how he makes his money. And it's completely separate from the sanctuary. He makes his living off of the farm at the farmer's market, and then we fundraise separately in order to help feed the animals. So it's now two separate operations, and fundraising for them is always a challenge because it costs a lot to run an animal sanctuary, but we have amazing supporters and a really creative volunteer team. So we've been able to do it so far. There's Farmhouse Garden Organics, which is the vegetable garden, and what we did was register Farmhouse Garden Animal Home as a nonprofit animal rescue. So that way it's two separate entities. It's all done properly as a nonprofit versus a business.
We'll pause for a moment now to thank the Divine for all the amazing people around the world who operate or contribute to Animal Sanctuary. We'll be back after this important message. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television.
Be a hero. Be vegan. Save the world.
Welcome back to our program. After creating an animal sanctuary for his cows, Mike began to earn his living entirely from his organic market garden. Edith next explains what crops he grows.
Basically anything that'll grow in Ontario. There's root crops, beets, parsnips, carrots. There's leafy greens, so a lot of lettuce, kale, spinach. Mike's spinach is famous in our community because it's so delicious. Yeah, basically any vegetable that'll grow here, Mike will grow it. And it's such a great mixed farm, and Mike puts so much care into making sure that it's environmentally friendly, that it's sustainable, all organic, and something he really cares about is making sure that it's good for the ecosystem as well. He really cared about the health of his customers as well. He wanted to make sure that the products that he's bringing to people are of the highest standard in terms of health and also environmental sustainability. So Mike's been selling at the same farmer's market for I think over 30 years now, and he has such wonderful, supportive clients who are always there and always want to support small farmers and organic agriculture. So I think it's going well for him. Now because of COVID-19, he's had to downsize a little bit. It's been really difficult for farmers markets because of all the restrictions on them. So it's been a bit of an off year, but for the most part, we have really, really great customers that come to the market every single week.
At Farmhouse Garden Animal Home, an enthusiastic team of volunteers help Edith run the sanctuary's basic operations, while Mike carefully tends to the needs of the animals.
We have volunteer days, so twice a week we'll have volunteers come to make sure that all the animals have a nice bed to sleep on. They'll refill everyone's, like the ducks have water for swimming that they'll refill. They'll check on things to see what needs repair or maintenance. So the volunteers have their chores, and then Mike daily does his rounds to make sure everybody has food and water and is comfortable, and also does the crop or the pasture rotation, right? So the cows will move around from pasture to pasture in order to avoid ruining the grass, because if the cows are in one spot for a long time, it'll completely destroy the ground there. So it has to be really carefully thought out exactly where they are, and he has to run the fencing, and it's a lot of work.
Now that he no longer sells his cows for slaughter, we asked Edith what the financial impact has been for Mike and how he feels about his decision.
Mike was making more money off of the operation before, but he realized that part of transitioning to a farm sanctuary would be kind of taking that hit financially, and he was ready. He was okay with doing that if it meant saving the animals and making sure that he wasn't having that moral dilemma anymore. I can't say that it's more profitable now than it was before, but ethically, he knows that he's doing the right thing.
Many thanks, Edith and Mike, for your courageous, noble decision. May heaven bless you abundantly for your compassionate work. For more information on Farmhouse Garden Animal Home, please visit farmhousegardenanimalhome.com. Cherished viewers, thanks for joining us today.